Daniel stood under the pale glow of the moon, shivering despite the warmth of his jacket. He had always found solace in this graveyard, a place where the world felt quieter, more contemplative. Tonight, however, was different. A sense of urgency gnawed at him, compelling him to return to his mother's grave, a place he had visited countless times since her passing. The dreams that had haunted him for weeks, vivid and unsettling, were pulling him back here. They were not mere nightmares. They felt like whispers from the past, beckoning him to uncover something hidden, something crucial. His heart raced as he approached the grave, its markers standing sentinel against the darkness. The headstone, worn and weathered, bore his mother's name, Elizabeth Carver. He knelt, tracing the letters with trembling fingers, memories flooding his mind. The laughter they shared, her warm embrace, and the stories she told filled his thoughts, but the dreams were insistent. Each night he saw a coffin. Each night it grew closer. Each night it whispered secrets that begged for revelation. "What do you want me to find?" he murmured to the wind, hoping for clarity amidst the chaos in his mind. With a deep breath, he steeled himself. The weight of grief pressed down on him, yet curiosity urged him to dig deeper, to seek the truth that lay buried beneath the surface. As he stood, uncertainty washed over him. Should he really disturb her resting place? The thought of unearthing her grave felt like a betrayal, yet the dreams tugged at his conscience. They were so real, so vivid. Perhaps there was something he needed to know, something left unresolved. The temptation to uncover the mystery became unbearable. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps echoed in the stillness. It was Father Michael, the local priest, approaching with a concerned expression. He had been a guiding figure since Daniel's mother passed away, offering support during the darkest days. "Daniel, what are you doing here at this hour?" he asked, his voice a mix of concern and curiosity. I need to see her," Daniel replied, his voice barely above a whisper. The priest's eyes softened, and he stepped closer, sensing the turmoil within Daniel's heart. "You shouldn't be here alone. The night can play tricks on the mind," he cautioned. "I know, Father, but I can't shake these dreams. I feel like there's something I need to find," Daniel confessed, fighting back tears. He felt vulnerable, exposing his inner struggles to someone who had witnessed his pain. "Dreams can be powerful, but they can also be misleading," Father Michael replied gently. "What if it's just your mind processing grief? What if it's not meant to be understood?" Daniel shook his head, frustration rising within him. "I can't ignore it. I have to know. Something's off, Father. I feel it in my bones." Father Michael regarded him for a moment, weighing his options. "Very well, but if you're determined, I'll be right here with you," he said, his voice steady. They approached the grave together, Daniel's heart pounding with anticipation and dread. As they arrived, Daniel felt an inexplicable compulsion to reach for the shovel he had brought along. It felt like a preposterous idea, digging up his mother's grave, but he couldn't shake the sense of urgency. The priest watched, a mix of concern and intrigue evident on his face. "Are you sure this is what you want to do?" Father Michael asked, his voice grave. "I have to know, Father. I have to understand," Daniel replied, determination overtaking doubt. He grasped the shovel, the cool metal feeling foreign in his hands. With each thrust into the earth, he could feel the weight of grief, fear, and love intertwining. "Just a little more," Daniel urged himself, gritting his teeth as sweat dripped down his brow. He felt alive and haunted, caught between the living and the dead. The coffin trembled as he applied more force, the wood finally yielding to his relentless pursuit. Suddenly, the lid cracked open, revealing darkness. "What's inside?" Daniel thought, panic and excitement intertwining. He inhaled deeply, bracing himself for the revelation. The bitter smell of decay seeped into the air, stirring old memories he fought hard to suppress. When he lifted the lid, his heart raced. Inside lay something utterly different from what he had anticipated. Daniel stared wide-eyed at a figure nestled within, a body he thought was his mother's, now unmistakably altered. Disbelief hit him, causing him to stumble backward, and he gasped for breath. Father Michael rushed to his side, his hand resting on Daniel's shoulder. "What have you done, Daniel?" he asked, stunned and horrified. Confusion reigned, and Daniel felt as if he were being swallowed by shadows. "This can't be!" he gasped, recoiling from the truth. Who is this?" He could barely articulate his thoughts, questions racing through his mind. "This is impossible! Mom?" His voice quivered, grappling with the scene before him. What he saw shattered his reality. He was unprepared for this level of chaos. "No, no, no, I didn't mean to," Daniel mumbled, tears streaming down his cheeks. Father Michael stepped closer, trying to piece together the fragmented situation. "Calm down, Daniel. You're not alone," he urged, gripping Daniel's arm to provide comfort. Panic surged, and Daniel was consumed by emotions he couldn't understand. Who was lying before him? What had happened to his mother? Why had he been haunted by dreams? The truths began intertwining, drawing him deeper into despair. "Let's call the police," Father Michael suggested, urgency lacing his words. Daniel nodded, still shaken. This couldn't be the end. There had to be an explanation. As they waited for law enforcement to arrive, questions swirled in Daniel's mind. Minutes felt like hours, each second stretching into eternity. Daniel could barely breathe. His heart ached for clarity, for understanding. "Is this truly my fault?" he wondered. "Should I have left well enough alone?" The night felt heavy, filled with regret. Sirens pierced the air as police arrived, illuminating the dark cemetery. Officers stepped cautiously, uncertain of what lay ahead. Father Michael approached them, urgently relaying the situation. As officers approached the coffin, their expressions changed. Shock and disbelief mirrored Daniel's feelings. Daniel couldn't comprehend what happened next, how everything spiraled into chaos. The gentle sound of leaves rustling and the night air felt surreal against the backdrop of despair. "Who's in that coffin?" one officer demanded, an edge in his voice. Father Michael spoke, trying to maintain composure amid chaos. Daniel had troubling dreams. It's a complex situation, but his words felt inadequate against the severity of the moment. With a deep breath, Daniel stepped forward, finding his voice amid the tension. "It's my mother, or at least I thought it was." He trembled as he explained the situation, unraveling the truth. "The dreams, the grave. I had to know, but it's not her." The officers exchanged glances, unsure how to proceed. "Let's secure the area," one instructed, concern creeping into his tone. The reality of the situation pressed down on them all. They needed to uncover the truth buried beneath layers of secrets. Daniel felt utterly exposed, trapped in a whirlwind of emotions as police began to examine the body. "What do we do now?" he wondered, voice wavering. The truth felt elusive, like a mirage slipping through his fingers. As the investigation progressed, whispers filled the air. Who was the body? Why was it in his mother's coffin? Officers meticulously pieced together evidence, gathering every detail to uncover the mystery behind the shocking discovery. Days turned into weeks, each passing moment laden with uncertainty. The investigation was slow, mired in red tape. Daniel felt helpless, trapped in a web spun from his choices, haunted by dreams that refused to relent. Finally, the police concluded their investigation. A press conference was held to reveal the identity of the body. It was a woman, a local missing person who had been reported over a year ago. The connection sent shockwaves through the community, unraveling a web of deception. Daniel sat in stunned silence as the news unfolded. "What does this mean?" he pondered, a mixture of horror and relief washing over him. It wasn't his mother, but the implications were horrifying. Someone had tampered with the grave. But who would do such a thing? Father Michael sat beside him, equally perplexed. "This doesn't change your love for your mother, Daniel," he whispered, trying to offer solace. The weight of grief still pressed upon them, but the truth provided a glimmer of closure. In the following weeks, Daniel found himself on a different journey, one of healing and understanding. As the community rallied together, he realized he wasn't alone. Sharing his story, he found connection in unexpected places, slowly piecing his life back together. Daniel reflected on the haunting journey he undertook, a testament to the lengths one would go for love. Each moment etched in his memory: grief, desperation, hope. It transformed into a profound appreciation for the living, guiding him toward healing. Eventually, he sought therapy to process the events that transpired. With the help of a compassionate therapist, he began to unpack the layers of grief, confusion, and anger that had built up within him. "I didn't mean to dig her up," he confessed during one session, tears streaming down his face. "I just wanted to understand. I wanted to make sense of my dreams." His therapist nodded, encouraging him to explore those feelings. "It's natural to seek closure in difficult situations," she explained. "But remember, grief doesn't follow a linear path. You'll have good days and bad days." Weeks turned into months, and Daniel's resilience shone through. He embraced the support of friends and family, finding strength in their kindness. Together they honored his mother's memory through shared stories, laughter, and tears. Through this journey, Daniel learned that grief is not a burden to bear alone. It is a shared experience, a bond that connects us to one another. He found solace in the idea that love transcends loss, a comforting thought amid sorrow. As the seasons changed, so did Daniel. He began volunteering at the local shelter, finding purpose in helping others navigate their struggles. Each encounter reminded him of the resilience of the human spirit, igniting a newfound passion within him. The dreams, once haunting, began to shift. No longer filled with dread, they transformed into reflections of his mother's love, a reminder that she would always be a part of him. He learned to embrace the memories instead of fearing them, allowing the warmth of her spirit to guide him through life's uncertainties. With each passing day, Daniel realized the importance of cherishing the connections we share with one another. His mother's legacy lived on in the lives he touched, a reminder that love is the most profound force we possess. As he stood by her grave once more, the sun breaking through the clouds, he felt a sense of peace wash over him. "Thank you, Mom," he whispered, placing fresh flowers by the headstone. "I'll carry you with me, always." The shadows of the past slowly dissipated, replaced by a bright horizon of hope. Daniel understood that life is a series of journeys, filled with twists and turns. Though he had faced unimaginable challenges, he emerged stronger and more resilient than ever. He walked away from the graveyard, the weight of grief no longer suffocating but rather a gentle reminder of the love that had shaped him. And as he moved forward, he carried with him a profound understanding. The grave may hold secrets, but love is the light that guides us through the darkest of times.